Hello everyone, this is the LEGO Ninjago Season 11 Land Bounty set. It is not intended to be a replacement for Destiny's Bounty, but rather just one more mobile ninja base tool in the Ninja Tool kit. The set comes with a nice selection of minifigures, both good guys and bad guys, but I want to first get straight to the Land Bounty itself, the main thing you pay for in this set. This obviously still follows the nautical theme of Destiny's Bounty, even to the point of having sails, although they don't do anything on this land-based vehicle in-universe. It's much too fast for them, but they're nice decorations, and fortunately they are the cloth type of material, not vinyl, so they feel pretty good. They don't have any awkward shine and glare, but they are only printed on one side, so if you look at this from the opposite side, you're just not seeing as much of the print. It still comes through a bit, just not as strong. And then you've got the decks, which appear to be made with wood, with the colors that are chosen there. The forward upper deck has the rotating cannon, so you can turn this around. You can actually kind of shoot yourself if you want to. I don't recommend it. What just fell out there is one of the ammunition pieces. It's just a 1x1 cylinder piece, and you've got some extras there as well, because this is a shooting type of cannon with the spring-loaded shooter built into it. They've had these for quite some years, and then either side has a staircase that has a little bit of railing on the side, gets you down to the lower rear deck. The entryway there looks nice, but it's not tall enough for a minifigure to fit through, so it's kind of a fake thing here. I wish that there was enough space some way, somehow, in the design to allow a figure to actually walk through there, or to have one, standing inside looking out or something. And then you have this upper deck as well. Now there's an interior that we will look at, but there's this upper deck where you have kind of an alternate command station, including again, nautical themed wheel there. It's just a small one, a couple of stud shooters off on the side for things to fire off, and also engines on the back. These are nice engine assemblies, with multiple thrusters for each. So you got the main one here in the center, and then these ones on the sides using the BB9E, Darth Ball, BB Hate, heads just in black. I like how that was set up. You have some additional ones around the back, so all sorts of little thrusters are suggested back here. And there's a nice simple feature to allow you to broaden these out and actually make the whole thing a bit wider here. You just rotate, pulling against the gray right here. It's a lever. You just pull it and rotates this thing out. It's a simple geared mechanism using the knobby style of gears, and yeah, they just kind of go in and out. So it's simple enough in what it does, but I like it, and it's smooth. I like how it went together as well. There's sort of a trunk back here, or I don't know, a cargo deck, but it's just large enough to fit this little ATV. I actually like the design of this because it's not the standard design. It's all angled forward. There's a lot of rake, and yeah, I think it just looks cool, like a little Kai ATV, little Kai quad, and that will just fit right in there, and these flaps can come up and hold it in place. Now, you may have seen something moving on the side. Let's check that out. These Ninja Star or Shuriken pieces in the pearl gold actually look pretty good, and they're able to rotate freely, but each one on either side, also has a tire attached to its kind of axle center assembly, and that tire is on the ground, so as you move the entire vehicle forward and back, that just drags and rotates and spins up the spinner, and it spins them on both sides. This has a little bit of give, and it's able to adjust to terrain, so you don't need to be on perfectly flat terrain as you drive this around, and it looks pretty good. It's too bad it's not retractable at all. You have to pull the whole thing off if you don't want to see it there, but it's a good action feature. It doesn't take anything away. A better feature, though, that's built into this is the ability to steer, and it's not a simple one. It's much more advanced than it even needs to be. This back here, this thruster, is connected to a geared system with axles that go all the way forward and steer both front axles, and it steers them at different rates. So you notice that the inside ones are not turned as much as the outside ones. That is perfect. It's what you need for multiple axle steering at the front of something, so you don't get too much tire scrub. And this works great. I love having the knob at the back because you can just push it along. You can just control it, control the entire thing yourself from back here and just rotate around. It actually has a pretty decent steering radius, turning radius for its size, for its huge size. And it works. It works well. This is a well done feature, nicely integrated. From a low angle, there's a large inverted windscreen here, which gives a large open viewing port for what could be considered a bridge or a control room. But there are two of these, one here and then one back here. Now, you may know by now that when you see two bridges or two cockpits on a Lego vehicle, it means you're actually looking at two vehicles. Yep, it's split function time. I'm just going to bring the thrusters out again and then lift all of this straight off. It's only attached with a couple of studs, one on either side. And this is a flyer. What do you know? It kind of looks like a skiff sort of thing. Sci-fi in a way. I don't particularly like the shape of it, but I feel like I'm a little bit biased there. I like things that are a little bit more aerodynamic myself, or really blocky. I don't know, this is maybe halfway in between. It's kind of weird that this looks like the deck of a sea-going ship to me. But I like the concept overall still. And to get access to the interior of this, you flip up these flaps. And you have just two seats in there, including a printed console at the front. And that's what the stud shooters are for. So this is able to still give off some firepower. It's not a lot, just a couple of stud shooters. These are supposed to represent the actual cannons on it, But yeah, it does a thing. Still really doesn't need this though. So this is the part where I show you the detailed interior that is exposed by removing that split off vehicle. But in this case, there actually isn't such a thing, at least not here. Instead, there's another weapon that can pop up, turning this gear here on the side. Again, it's fairly smooth, and this has a turret with a couple of spring-loaded shooters, and they also include in the set one extra bolt. Careful how you rotate that, but it's able to angle up and down. It can fire at things on the ground for a little bit of heavy point defense. It'll fire straight out, and it'll fire up just a little bit. Yeah, it's enough of an angle to hit some air targets at a distance, but it does need a little bit more. Of course, you could always swap that around, flip the way that it's hinged to make it work a little bit better, and then you can just put this away. And it does partially block the entranceway that already figures can't fit through. And just to mention this audibly, I'm sure you've seen it already, but there's a weapon rack on this side with a couple of weapons on it. You will see more weapon racks inside when I pull off the forward upper deck. This is where the actual detailed interior really is. So over there is one more weapon rack built up with golden pieces. They look pretty nice. Got a little pedestal for a tea kettle and also a driving position there. You also get a co-pilot's seat and a printed console on the left and a stickered one in the back that's wider. That is obviously an arcade console. It's very bright with the coral colored piece used underneath the buttons and controls, and there's just a sticker for the game that's being played. It's a nice little cabinet. It's something done a little bit differently. I personally don't like the color combination used here, but that's easy to swap out. It's a nice build, and it's done well on the inside. And then finally, you just have one more weapon rack over here, and it's just a small one. All right, minifigure time. Let's look at some of the simpler ones first. We got Kai and Jay here, and they're exhibiting quite a bit of their base colors. Jay does get the dark blue for the legs, but I like how colorful these are and just how obvious they are. They're just really owning their color schemes. These are the more serious faces for them, and around back with more stuff removed, you see the alternate faces and also the rest of their rear torso prints. On the left here is Nia with no more dark red in her color scheme, just the gunmetal gray and dark azure. Finally makes more sense for the water ninja to not have red left over in her scheme, since she's not doing the Samurai X thing anymore. And on the right is Cole FS for Forbidden Spinjitzu. And he's got the dual molded cowl there, which looks pretty cool. It almost looks like there are different colors of orange and yellow in it, just because of the shaping of those individual groups of flame there. Kind of look like spiky hair almost, but it just looks darker in the thicker portions and almost looks like it's a different hue, like you're going from orange to yellow, but it's all just one trans orange color. It doesn't look so good from the back, but as soon as some light is going through it, it's actually pretty cool. There are their faces, and once again, there's a little bit more to see on the back. In addition to the alternate faces, you get to see the rest of the print as well for Nia on the back of her torso. Wu is back to being fully old like he originally was and like he's supposed to, and he's got a very fuzzy cape. It's relatively smooth on one side, but then especially fuzzy on the other. A little bit of serration down at the base. They've done something different with his hair here, actually tying it back at the back of his head. It's a new head print, front and rear. I think that face print with the full facial hair built into it looks really good, and I feel like it'll be useful for some made-up characters as well, but it's also just closer to what I expect him to look like with the beard trimmed down, rather than having no facial hair or a different color or anything. I think that just matches very well. It's strange that he has a coffee mug. It should be a teacup. I mean, they make teacups, so why not give him a teacup? But they gave him a coffee mug, so technically for him it's a tea mug. Here are a couple variations of the foot soldiers of the Pyro Snake villains. The one on the left is technically called a Pyro Slayer, and the one on the right is a Pyro Destroyer. Just they have slightly different combat roles, but you can see that they use the exact same headpieces and the same torso and hip and leg prints. They just change up their weapons and accessories, and the one on the right has the additional little bit of armor as well. Got the nice modern copper color, as we tend to call it these days. It's an interesting blend of different colors together. Notice the eyes, and you got the dual molded heads, so when the light hits it just right, the eyes appear to glow. And that's going to depend on exactly what angle you're looking at, where you will see that glow, but it's nice when it happens. I think a lot of people can appreciate that. The flames themselves coming off the sides, there we go, are pretty bright. There's plenty of the trans orange there. The torsos again are the same, so I'm not going to take off the armor piece of the one on the right. And yeah, I think these look pretty good if you ask me. And just so you can see the rest of this weapon, that is a Kopesh there. Here's a bigger, badder baddie. This is Char, named one with a different style of head. Very creepy looking. Again, dual molded, so you get some of the trans orange in there, and you see a lot more of it from the side as the flame actually goes straight through the neck, and it appears just a little bit with the crest up on the top. Again, it's just going to depend upon the angle that you're looking at and where your light source is, where you'll see most of that glow. But this is done up pretty well. I'm glad that they didn't just reuse a headpiece. They're reusing the base, or what would be a representation, or I guess a replacement for legs. That's a reused piece with just a new print on it. But the head is pretty proper, and I like the staff as well. Of course, as soon as I say that, I take it off so that you can see the rest of the torso print. And don't forget about the back. The last one here is Asphira, the Seeker of Revenge and banner carrier for this set, using the same head as the other regular Pyro Snakes, but with a different color scheme with a nice gold. And as far as I can tell, all of the gold pieces on this, and I think even in this entire set, are finally the new version of Pearl Gold. That is more gold looking to me, less orange. I like it much better than the older Pearl Gold. It's a subtle difference, but a nice difference. So yeah, just different colors used here, and the wraith-like lower leg piece, which really looks flame-like with that combination of the trans orange and just a regular yellow going through it. Marbles up very nicely. The flames stand out well. I think you get a little bit more light reflecting back and refracting through there, so it just glows a bit more. And the weapon also is very interesting looking. It's partially translucent up here. It's not crystal clear, and then they've molded in a little bit of gold down towards the bottom as well. And the banner is flame, and it's made of vinyl. I like this figure. It feels collectible to me. Really nice torso underneath there. It's a shame you don't see a lot of that detail most of the time, because a lot of it is covered up And there's even more around the back. This set also comes with a Forbidden Spinjitzu Cyclone, which has some glitter in it against the trans orange, or within the trans orange. This is gunmetal gray down at the base, and obviously this is for Cole. Goes with him, with his color scheme and everything. He just fits in there. That's why they just gave him just a sword, and that's it, because he needs to fit into the cup. And let's see if I can spin this properly. Probably not. That's okay. Here's the very generous selection of spare or leftover pieces, including also the intentional pieces that are supposed to be part of the set, with the additional bolt here for the spring-loaded shooters, and also a couple of studs for the stud shooters. This piece obviously is where I took the one banner for Asphera out, and every single set that has one of these banners is going to have all three, because they just printed one of these sheets, which makes sense. It just saves cost and gives all of us who get any of these sets extra parts. I think this set is done well for what it is, but I personally do have some issues with it, kind of at a high level. First of all, for such a large and expensive set, to intentionally leave out a couple of the ninja from the team, I think is a pretty clear marketing move or sales move. I think that they should have been a bit more generous with this one. Also, I am not 100% behind the idea of the land bounty itself in universe. Canonically, the actual Destiny's bounty still exists in conjunction with this, so this is... it feels a bit forced, a bit more forced than usual, to put the ninja onto a vehicle where they aren't able to quickly and easily get away by air, although they will eventually find out about the air section. But it's new, they haven't read the manuals, so they're more easily trapped and endangered by land-based baddies. You know, it requires more suspension of disbelief than usual, and more than I'm personally comfortable with. Again, for what it is, for what it's supposed to be, I think that it is designed well as a Lego set. There's a fair amount of room to play on and around it. The details are pretty good. I do wish that the side doors were a little bit more generous and could have used more detail on the inside. And I do wish that the oversized shuriken on the sides were able to retract. Value-wise, I am okay with the price. I think the price to part ratio looks better than it needs to be for a set of this size with a fair number of fairly large pieces, but all put together, you know, factoring in the small pieces also that inflate the part count a bit, just the end result, the completed thing, I feel, with the number of minifigures and how good they are, which I do like the figures that are here, I feel like you get your money's worth with this. If you want to see the full build for this set, choose your not Destiny bounty. I've got the real-time version, the pure build, which has no speeding up and no music. It's just the sounds of assembling the thing, and it shows you every single step along the way, including when I made a mistake and corrected it. Or if you don't have that much time, then just switch over to the speed build, the more traditional, more time-lapse style of video, which does have a little bit of music and just takes you through the whole thing much more quickly. Whichever you choose, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you again as soon as I can.